It's not clickbait. A piece of spearmint gum really changed my life. I wanted to be a writer since I was really little. And I usually wrote poetry for years and years, and recently I wanted to get into writing longer form. So I reached for quotes and ideas from my favorite authors to help me get better at writing. That's how I found a quote from Kurt Vonnegut, who said that every character should need something, even if it is only a glass of water. So I broke it down. I tried to reverse engineer it. What could I have a character want? Do they need a stapler? Do they need a fishing rod? Do they need an accountant to help them file their taxes? What's something small and essentially almost meaningless in day-to-day life that a character could need? Because I like the idea of having something that to someone else wouldn't seem meaningful, but maybe to this one person, this one point in time, it meant everything. One of the ideas I came up with was a piece of gum. Just seemed random enough, something small, something someone could keep in their pocket, something that you could get anywhere. How do I create that need for them was the next question. So I started to, play my mind with gum. Is it bubble gum? Is it mint gum? I landed on spearmint. I just liked that word. Thought that was really beautiful. I tried to come up with what would be important about a flavored gum. It started going around when I was in high school that if you chewed one flavor of gum while you studied a subject and then chewed that same flavor of gum when you took the test, you would remember what you studied. And it was something about the taste and memory connected the same way that sometimes random smells can take you back to a kindergarten classroom or your grandma's house. This taste, the specific taste associated with geography or algebra could take you back on the day of the test if you chewed it. I thought maybe I would have a student who needs gum to study, but then that seemed a little bland. I wanted something a little different. So it's okay, I have gum, I have memory. I want it to be a queer character because it's important to me to have queer characters in my writing, even if it's not necessarily about coming out. I just want them to be represented. I try to think of what would memory and gum have together? What would someone in their 30s need to remember? And honestly, it's one of those things where you're almost picking a lock. You have a couple of ideas and you're playing with them with your brain. You're trying to pick those pins and you can kind of feel it like twiddling away. Eventually something just clicked and I felt all the pins line into place. And I thought, what if this woman had early onset Alzheimer's and a piece of gum was the only thing that could help her remember? Now, I don't need that to be true in real life. I don't know if that would work for somebody, but maybe if someone had early onset Alzheimer's and they had known that taste helps with memories, that maybe they would convince themselves, even if it's a placebo, that this gum could help them remember things while their memory is slipping away. I had it. I needed a woman who was looking for a piece of gum to help her remember. And I played around with the idea of having, what did she forget? What did she need to know? Again, it's very important for me to have queer characters in my stories. And so I had her just start on a date and she didn't remember the date's name. And her date gets upset, leaves because she thinks that this woman is a womanizer, but she's not. She just can't remember things and she's uncomfortable to tell people that, especially on a first date. And she realizes then that she doesn't have her gum with her, but then she can't remember what kind of gum she needs. And the story unfolds from there. She goes to a bodega and tries to find the flavor of gum she needs. And it's all about this balance between memory escaping you, but what you need to help you remember, you're forgetting. While she's having this moment, realizing that her memories are getting further and further away from her, she's sunk into this very specific place where everything feels super intense and super focused. I wrote that story and I submitted it to a bunch of different literary magazines and I got an acceptance. It was my very first literary acceptance. I keep it in our bathroom because I heard a quote that you should keep the things that you find most impressive in your bathroom so that guests see them. But also I keep it by my mirror, mainly for myself so that I'm reminded of what I've accomplished. I have a lot more stories about what writing has meant to me in the past 2 years of trying to chase publication and trying to get my stories out in the world. For me, a lot of those thoughts center around being queer, and I want to create more queer stories for people so that they can relate to them. Mainly, I made this video because I wanted everyone to know that something as simple as a piece of gum can be a turning point for you. Without a piece of spearmint gum, I honestly don't know if I would have been published yet. It's probably the story I'm most proud of. It makes me feel like I'm glowing and it's helped encourage me ever since. If there's anything that I hope you take away from this video, it's to find your spearmint gum. Happy reading. Okay, this could be stale.